Hi everyone, welcome to the Heart of Illumination. I'm Joseph. Today we'll be talking about relating to people. One of the key things that I want to highlight, and maybe it'll be a series for this talk, but one of the key topics in this overarching theme of relating to people is how some people see the good in people. And so for those who resonate with this channel and the messages that I sent through this channel, this might resonate. And if something doesn't resonate, it's okay. Take what resonate, leave the rest. This isn't, so I guess some part of this message will be channeled, but just take the message as a whole, whether it's channeled or whether it's coming from my personal experience and so forth. So one of the key things is, if you landed on this channel, you're most likely a person, or maybe you have characteristics that tend to see the good in people. And that's a really good trait and a very revered virtue. Yet, as we mature in this world and we go on our self-discovery path, or the path of self-awareness, or spirituality, or whatever label you want to put it, the path of just knowing ourselves more. And when we know ourselves more, we can be sympathetic, compassionate, and eventually sympathetic, empathetic, and compassionate with other people. And then eventually almost literally walk in their shoes without literally walking in their shoes. But the key theme today is, right, so it's a good thing, right? It's a good thing. And in this world, as we mature and we know more about the world, we realize that not everything is black and white. Not any specific one thing is eternally good for every situation or good for everything, right? And because we live in this world, there's a core theme of duality. The best image, the best visual for this concept is the yin-yang, right? Where there's a part of white, the other half is black, and then within each of the parts, within the dark part, there's a small circle that's white, and then within the overly white part, half, there's a circle, small circle in it that's dark, right? And so that very simple symbol outlines kind of a deep wisdom that could be a deep rabbit hole for some people that want to go deeper. But basically, it's just to outline that we live in a world of duality. And just because there's light and dark, or light and shadow, or fullness and emptiness, doesn't mean either of them is really good or bad. And so, so this is one of the deeper teachings that we'll cover later on this channel, where the world around us, with good intention, and maybe from our lineage, right, basically the key thing that taught them what something was good or bad is whether it was going to harm them, right? And one of my teachers that I follow, Matthias de Stefano, is that he shares a story that in our ancient times, we were just hunter and gatherers. So during the day, light is good, where we can gather food, we can hunt, we can spend time with our loved ones and see everything around us without any worry. And then during the night, everything is dark. And so that's when sometimes there are animals that attack them in the dark. Or if you go out and try to look for food at night, or try to look for anything at night, there could be an animal waiting behind a bush to attack you. Or maybe you fall into a ditch somewhere because you couldn't see it because it's not bright enough for your eyes to see it, right? So that, something so simple that our ancestors experienced and try to, in goodwill, teach us, this is, the light, right? When it's daytime, things are usually pretty cool. Be cautious, but pretty cool. And then at night when it's dark, don't be afraid of it, but just be more cautious, right? Or set up a system, or set up the day and how the community operates, so that not everybody goes out at the dark, or people have to be back in the village by a certain time, something like that, right? So it's not good or bad, and it's only to be more cautious at certain times, and then we can always have systems or ways of being to help alleviate some of the potential, just to be aligned to caution, right? So went on a whole spiel about that, but that's one of the core things we'll cover on this channel. So back to relating, and how likely many of you that come to this channel tend to see the good in people, right? Not saying you don't have an aspect that might be a little judgmental, or might just have thoughts that are judgmental, that aren't really you, but they're just thoughts, right? They're trying to assess whether this good person is good or bad, whether this person, I want to have them in my life for the next 2 minutes, or the next week, or for the rest of my life as a friend. So it's to those different extent. But I want to say that, it's a good quality trait. And if you tend to lean towards seeing the good in people, you're already ahead of the game in life, right? Yes, even when there's a good trait that we're born with and we've been cultivating throughout our life in this world of duality, life sometimes pushes us to help us tune in to the deeper part of ourselves that eventually gets reflected out in our behavior, right? In our virtues, right? So if a part of your core of your being, and comes out as when you were young, and now to present day adult, you've always tend to see the good in people. That's a part of the core of your being that kind of radiated out, that needed to test the environment and the world, right? It's not a malice thing. They send people that will take advantage of that good virtue, right? So you might see the best in people, but life might send you somebody, right? Not someone that will con you out of everything, but just someone that would tell simple lies. And then it'll be up to you, right? Whether you will accept those lies, whether you'll accept this person that tell these white lies, or even more important lies, like cause you to lose money, or cause you to maybe hurt yourself, or unintentionally hurt another person, right? So it's always up to us, and us connecting to ourselves, to then put up the boundary, right? Be aligned and own the part of us that, I couldn't do it anyway. I couldn't do it any other way. I can't live as any other person other than being connected to this part of me that sees the best in people. And then of course life has these events to test whether we really want to continue to align to that, and then eventually have a deeper realization that, that is a core part of me. And that's one of the main ideas. And so, hold on to that. So, it is, some people will get tested by life, and then they'll question, right, is this a good thing to keep seeing the good in other people? And then of course they go through so much pain that they want to just abandon that piece. They want to abandon that aspect, or a deeper idea of aspect, when it matures and we integrate it with ourselves, is a facet. And that's something another teacher that I follow teaches as well. An aspect that we become aware of and we integrate becomes a facet of ourselves. And then eventually it becomes just a part of us. We don't even call out an aspect or facet. It's just, this is who I am. And at deeper levels of self-realization and alignment and attunement, it truly goes beyond words. It's like being on, it's like being in an altered state. It's just beyond words. But yes, when you go share with another person that's in resonance, use words to communicate these ideas. But sometimes it could be as deep as telepathy. We'll save those for another time. So basically, we get tested. Whether we choose to keep aligning to it because it's something deeper within us, you could say our heart, our soul, the part of us that connects to our divinity. And then I refer to this part of myself as the core of my being, right? It encapsulates all the physical and all the non-physical, multidimensional aspects and multidimensional kind of existence beyond what I can comprehend, and be like, yep, but I chose to be here as a human for this time, so I'm going to be here as a human. Doesn't mean I can't connect to the wisdom of my multidimensional aspect. It just means that let's be human, right? If I meet another person, let's meet on a human to human level. And it's not like I'm recording a video, right? I don't have to say, oh, I'm channeling someone, here's what no. Receive the information, deliver it as a human being. That's another thing. So coming back to the idea of seeing the idea, characteristic, and virtue of seeing the good in people. And so we just get tested, whether it's a really good virtue or not. And so hopefully, if you find this video, you've at least experienced the journey of all these external experiences trying to pull you away from seeing the good in people. And if you're getting ready to almost give up on seeing the good in people, please tune into yourself, do a meditation, contemplation, or just go back into stillness and start talking with this aspect. You can label it for the time being as seeing the good in others. It'll get deeper, but just label it that and see what comes up. It might not come up for the first session or maybe even a little bit of time, but eventually, as you align to the practice of stillness and listening, deeper inner, listening to our inner selves and so forth, you can start developing a relationship with this seed. Let's just say it's a seed, this aspect. And then as you mature and evolve in your relationship with this aspect, you'll get introduced to other aspects. They could be virtues, they could be things of improvement, but either way, they're a part of you for the time being, and it's either to be integrated or to be accepted, loved, and then poof, give it back to wherever it came from. Usually I would just refer to source. And and when this topic came to me, that was not all this information came to me at once, but that's what I wanted to cover, seeing the good in people. And so just by kind of going through our inner struggle with, is this part of me, is this part good to have as me, should I integrate it, should I abandon it, and all this stuff, and that entire, you could call it struggle, or that entire journey, it's worth it, it's valid. And that's what we're all going through with not just one aspect, but many aspects that we embody and become aware. And I want to share that everything I just shared right now is important, because when we see the good in people, it's to balance out that as we have a deeper relationship with this aspect, call it seeing the good in people, we must balance it with a couple other aspects, right? An aspect that has strong boundaries, an aspect that, yes, when we sense, when we see and we feel and we sense that someone has ill intent, maybe he is tapping into our intuition or our hunches, has ill intent, we can choose to vacate that space and never see that person again, regardless of what their status is, their wealth, or how they could, what they could do for me or my career or whatever, right? None of that matters, right? So then there's another aspect that's, in a way, sovereignty, right? It is not about what that person can do for me. It is, I know, I connected it, I know that this person is not in alignment with me or what I want to do in this life. Maybe they're not good or bad people, just not what I want to do in this life. I don't need that person, even if the world says I need that person. And there's that part of you that will either come out as a hunch or intuition, be like, oh yeah, what I do, right? And then the sovereignty is what I do need, I already have, and the universe will guide me to get closer to it when I need it, or it's already on its way. So that's another deeper topic. It's related to law of attraction, but it's far more in alignment than law of attraction. So I wanted to outline some of those aspects because a lot of modern teaching, even some spiritual teachers, they tend to just focus on one aspect. And again, it's not out of malice or anything like that. We live in a world where the predominant way most people get information is a 15-second clip on social media, right? So maybe they cover, the seeing the good in people and that aspect, and then people develop ideas about it and they run with it. So all I'm trying to share with you here is that when you have an idea or have an awareness of an aspect, hopefully you continue to learn so that you learn a set of aspects that are intimately working together to bring balance and harmony and the full and the highest, most aligned use of that aspect into being. So I outline the aspect of seeing the good in others, strong boundaries, being able to discern whether someone is in alignment for you in the moment or in life, right? Whether you need them in your life at all or not. And then sovereignty. And these four things kind of intertwine, work together. It's like our body. If we take out just our heart, then nothing else gets blood, right? If I lose an arm, yes, my body will eventually adapt, but it'll know that I lost an arm, and it'll compensate in other ways. But everything kind of works together. For me to move my arm, all my organs have to work kind of in sync, and I'm doing it unconsciously, right? So yeah, just want to make sure that I communicate more of a holistic perspective when it comes to these personal development, spiritual concepts, or just concepts to know ourselves more. And that's one of the key things. And I'll definitely continue to share more from this perspective, and hopefully you get a lot of value from this. If you like what you hear, and at least you picked up a couple of gems, please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment below on this video. And your feedback is valuable so that I can focus more on the information you need and and help you to facilitate your own personal growth and personal alignment. Until next time.